local.
Yeah.
It's also by region. So it's like neighborhoods against neighborhoods. So a lot of it's like fathers against sons, brothers against brothers.
They changed teammates. Like two guys were fighting, and then another guy steps in and takes the place. First of all, these guys have dog shit skills.
Calcio Storico isn't just a game, it's like a heartbeat for Florence. This isn't just about scoring points. It's a story that goes back to ancient Greeks and Romans. So, when people in Florence talk about Calcio, they're not just chatting about a weekend match. They're connecting with a tradition that's older than anyone can remember. It is a unique sport that resembles a crazy combination of other sports such as soccer, rugby, and high-level wrestling. This insane game can be traced back to Florence in the 16th century, and it is still played today. However, there is a fun historical twist. The players dress up in period costumes. Back in 1490, young and fearless aristocrats even played this game on the frozen Arno River. But it gets better in 1530 when the city was under siege by Charles V of Habsburg, one of the big-shot rulers of that time. But the people of Florence didn't let that stop their vibe. In the middle of hunger and war drums, they played a Calcio match right in front of the enemy. Talk about a gutsy move. This wasn't just a game, it was a symbol of freedom and resilience. The beginning of the version that we recognize now as the modern one took place in 1930. On the other hand, you won't hear it during Carnival anymore. It is now a part of the celebration for San Giovanni, who is the patron saint of the city. It has preserved its swag from the 16th century. Players don costumes that are based on designs from a very long time ago, and each neighborhood team flaunts its color during the game. Who's who? Meet the teams. The neighborhoods of Santa Croce, wearing blue, Santo Spirito, wearing white, Santa Maria Novella, wearing red, and San Giovanni, wearing green, are each represented by one of Florence's 4 teams. To determine who will take first place overall, there will be a pair of semi-final matches followed by a championship match, the Battleground, where dirt meets divinity. The action takes place in Piazza Santa Croce, which is located directly in front of the Basilica of Santa Croce. They put some dirt around to create an atmosphere that is authentically old-fashioned, even though this plaza was once nothing more than a field of dirt and today is paved with stone. Fans were also provided with bleachers so that they could get a better view of the action. The rules. More like guidelines, really. What we call rules in the sport of Calcio Storico are more like recommendations. In 1580, Florentine Count Giovanni de Bardi wrote out the rules of this crazy game. Originally, this happened every night between Epiphany and Lent, and only the wealthy were invited. Picture a high-octane hybrid of soccer and rugby, with 27 players on each team. They were nimble on their feet and hands, able to punch, kick, and run at high speeds. Scoring intriguing combination once more. You can either throw the ball over a target or run the length of the field. The goal is to score the most points, or caxe, rather than to see who can deliver the most blows. The officials, including the head referee, 6 linesmen, and yes, a field master, must not be forgotten. That many eyes are required to monitor 54 gamers wreaking havoc within loosely delineated borders. Each match lasts a frantic 50 minutes and is decided by which team scores the most casse. What makes it unique? Let's dive into the wild and crazy world of Calcio Storico, an Italian sport that's as chaotic as it gets. You know, it's like watching a bunch of folks let loose in the most primal way possible. As Joe Rogan, UFC commentator, podcaster, and all-around colorful guy, would put it, it's like watching human nature in its rawest form. So here's the lowdown on this insane spectacle. Imagine this. Each team consists of 27 guys, and most of them aren't your usual athletes. We're talking about everyone from butchers and lawyers to regular citizens from throughout Florence's neighborhoods. These individuals are preparing to take part in something that can only be referred to as controlled mayhem at this point. They are everyday people who have voluntarily signed up to take part in the chaos. Because it is customary, there is a good possibility that you will continue the practice started by your father. It's similar to a rite of passage. It's possible that at this point you're asking why there haven't been more leg kicks in this brawl. Given that it takes place in Italy, one should not expect to see many leg kicks. The combatants are standing toe-to-toe and sparingly throwing punches and kicks at one another. It's almost as if they're competing against one another in some strange kind of dance, attempting to determine the best moment to knock out their rival. Now, when it comes to rules, there's pretty much just one. No 2-on-1 action. Everything else is fair game. Kicks, punches, body slams, you name it, it's on the menu. In Calcio Storico, pretty much anything goes. You can punch someone in the face, kick them where it hurts, or even body slam them to the ground. The only no-nos are kicks to the head and sucker punches. If you want to throw down, you gotta square up first. That's the code of honor here. In the same way, as goals are scored in soccer, getting the ball into the goal of the opposing team counts as a goal for your team. But beyond that, there aren't any other parallels. When you score in Calcio Storico, it is not a cause for celebration. Rather, it is an open invitation for the opposing team to beat you up. Beating an opponent soundly is the price that must be paid to emerge victorious. Now, contrary to the rules of rugby, forward passes are permitted. One person even saw someone toss a football-style bomb to a teammate who was close to the goal, and then the teammate smashed it in. Let's talk about scoring a touchdown, or whatever the locals refer to it as. The action on the field is relentless. One moment, the Blues are dominating, and the next, the Reds are making a comeback. It's a roller coaster of a game, and the only constant is the carnage. The roll is getting thrown around like ragdolls, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies here. Several players are going down left and right, and some of them won't be able to get back up without the assistance of a stretcher. You might be wondering, is this sport brutal? Well, you bet your bottom dollar it is. But here's a fun fact to ease your worries. They banned convicted criminals from playing in 2007. So, while it's still rough and tumble, it's slightly less likely to end in a murder on the field. But it's not just any competition. It's neighborhood against neighborhood, fathers against sons, brothers against brothers. The matchups are intense, and it's all about pride. But perhaps the most bizarre part is how players switch partners. You'll see one guy duking it out with someone, and then, out of nowhere, a new player steps in and takes his place. It's like a never-ending cycle of mayhem. But here's the catch, and that was a pun. The prize for the winning team is a cow, in case you were wondering. A cow! You heard that properly! It's been done this way for years, and they take the game very seriously. The fact that these guys beat the living daylights out of each other and end up with a cow to show for it is proof enough that they deserve it. What an extraordinary selection of prizes. After the game, the stadium erupted in cheers and victory horns. The air was filled with joy and a sense of relief. It was hot and tense, yet no one complained or even considered leaving. An old, wild custom made everyone feel like they belonged to a greater whole. Calcio Storico's excitement was evident from how long the rush of excitement lasted. So, there you have it, the insanity of Calcio Storico, where chaos reigns supreme and tradition meets street brawl. It's a spectacle unlike anything you've seen before, and it's all about the thrill of primal competition. If you ever find yourself in Italy during Calcio Storico season, do more than just eat pizza and gaze at art. Witness this mayhem firsthand. It's a jaw-dropping experience that'll leave you wondering how on earth these folks keep coming back for more. If you found this Calcio Storico as fascinating as a supernova, then you're in for a treat with what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And stay tuned, because you won't want to miss what we have in store.